Welcome back to the World Center of Racing. It's time to go racing for the first race in the points season for the Strictly Stock Series. This is the Brown Motorworks 75 miles here at the high banks of Daytona. And as always, I'm joined in the booth by Rashad Metz. Rashad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Super excited to see these cars finally get here at Daytona International Speedway. Ready to see what kind of race these guys put on. Super excited, super hyped.
Now, this is the first race of the points season. Do you think a little stress is built up? These guys are now under pressure to get points to try to race for the Stock Car Series championship. How do you think these guys are handling the pressure?
Oh, this is going to be interesting. A new way shifts it up. We got a lot of wild card races this season, a real heavy oval based season this year. So basically now each and every race matters. All the points matter. It's always going to come down to the end of Daytona at the end of the season. So these drivers hopefully can learn a lot today at this race and doing this today and take that information into their final race, the final race this season. But right now I feel like these drivers are under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress to perform good here and get a good points to go on for the rest of the season.
Now, we have raced here once before in the test session race, the tune race we did a while back to test the setup for these cars, and it was jam-packed. We had a huge pack, bunch of huge wrecks. Do you think we're going to see that type of racing again here today?
Honestly, it just depends. A lot of these races depend on if these drivers want to drive safe or they want to be aggressive with the pedal to the metal all the way through. But right now, I feel like these drivers might come out with a little bit of extra energy today, want to flex their muscles a little bit, see what they can and can't do. And I feel like they might settle in a little bit as we get later into the runs because they realize that these cars might wreck a little more easier than they originally planned.
And we got a jam-packed schedule this year, starting out with the Brown Motorworks 75 here at Daytona for a day race. We will come back here to top off the season with a 100-mile race. Will be the championship race and a night race here at Daytona. So some of these drivers will be using this to learn some stuff. But anyways, let's get down to the Metz painting grid walk. I will kick us off. Starting on pole position is CJ Howell. He won the pole by a couple hundredths of a second. That's what it came down to, a really close finish for the pole position. CJ Howe is a very good driver, and it's so good to see him back in that number 58 car. He did really good last 2 weeks ago in the Thanksgiving 100, which was in these cars at Blue Moon Bay, and he did a very good job. Was running up front most of the time. Didn't get the finish he wanted, but he's looking to bounce back here today in the start of this brand new season. So look for the number 58 car to be running up front.
Rolling off P2, we have Miles Johnson in that Brown Motorworks Ford Mustang today. In the '06 car, Miles Johnson is one of the one of the oval racers that everybody has to look after, one of the best on ovals. So right now he's somebody you definitely have to look at. In P2 today, got a great qualifying effort, didn't put as much practice in as other drivers have, but he's somebody you always have to look after with his great setups and his great speed at ovals. Miles Johnson is somebody you got to keep your eye on this race.
And rolling off P3 is Rashad Metz in this beautiful GTO number 24 Monte Carlo. Rashad Metz is not much for super speedway racing. He can put himself at the right place at the right time, so look for him to be a threat at the end of this race. Rashad Metz, he just said he's hoping to start off with a decent finish. Not really trying to win the race today, but just wants to build up a decent amount of points in this beginning race so he's not at a huge deficit going into the remainder of the season. So look for that number 24 car to be running about mid-pack and make a push toward the end. That 24 car is going to be fast here today.
Rolling off P4, we have Nicholas Collier in the number 60 car Ford Mustang here today. A driver that usually does not have the best of luck when it comes to these oval races. Usually sometimes finds his way in the front, loses positions, stuff like that, gets shuffled around, gets caught up in a lot of incidents, but I feel like today, hopefully his luck will turn around, but right now, so far, if we go based upon his luck, it's not looking too good for him, but he got a good qualifying effort.
And rolling off right behind him is the number 74 car of Miles Turner. Miles Turner's had a very up and down career. He's been racing that number 74 car for a while. Now has the Kool-Aid sponsorship on board. They came on board last race at the Thanksgiving 100, and it brought some new life in him. He got a top 5 finish last weekend. He's looking to build off some of that momentum here today. He's a really good racer here, won a lot of races here online and a lot of other lobbies, so hopefully he'll be able to grab some of that talent and race with the big boys here today.
Rolling off P last, we have Donnie Wu in the number 11 Nissan here. Donnie Wu is one of those guys that he can be consistent and inconsistent. Sometimes it varies, but Donnie Wu is a guy that's also really, really fast. Didn't have the best qualifying effort today, but I feel like if he puts some things together, looks back at those notes, he might be somebody that you'll see up at the front quite often.
And that's it for your Mets painting grid walk. We got a stacked field of talent, 75 miles here in the Brown Motorworks 75. We do have some sponsorship opportunities available if you'd like to sponsor the series itself and if you'd like to sponsor a race this season. So let us know. It's completely free. We just want to kind of help y'all get your name out there as we get our name out there. So let's get down to it. The Brown Motorworks 75. You ready, Rashad?
All as ready as I'll ever be.
And let's get ready to take the green flag. And the green flag is out. We are racing at Daytona. The Brown Motorworks 75 is underway.
Sean's already trying to branch out. Miles Johnson take the green 3 wide already on the start of this race. This is going to be a new set of racing we've seen. These drivers are going to try to handle this differently. I don't know how they're going to race this race, but I'm super excited to see it. As we see, drivers already starting to get 2 wide. But Donnie Wu's on the outside getting shuffled out.
You see that pack already forming very strong, very fast, already approaching speeds of 200 miles an hour as we're 3 wide at the front of the pack, already fighting for position.
Miles Johnson is in the lead, getting a couple of seconds, getting some time ahead.
Yeah, they're racing 3 wide there for a second, but here comes a huge run by the number 60, going to stuff it in the rear bumper of the 06.
So far, these drivers are single file, but Nicholas Collier wants the lead, trying to go around the outside of Miles Johnson as we head into the tri-oval.
Love the camera angles here at the high bank super speedway of Daytona. This 2.5 mile track hosts NASCAR's most prestigious event. And man, this is sure already putting on a show here today.
A lot of shuffling around with these drivers so far. As you see the leaders kind of pushing each other, trying to build a little bit of a gap away to try to take the pressure off themselves. But it looks like Donnie Wu wants to go for the lead as he tries to get side by side with Miles Johnson, and he is. But Rashad tries to go to the outside,
that's
three
gonna
wide.
Huge run.
Gets down into second place. What a move. Donnie Wu to the lead. Miles Johnson has something to say.
You can really make some moves. You got some help. We're starting to form a double wide pack here going through the tri-oval.
Nicholas Collier is in the lead now. I told you to keep your eye on Nicholas Collier. Doesn't have the best of luck, but he's up there in the lead right now.
Let's take a look on the end car of one of these cars in the middle of the pack. Look how rough the track is.
A lot of bumps. You see, look at the G-forces of his neck being pulled over to the side. This is no joke here. Not a single joke at all. These drivers are 100% flat out right now as we are only on lap 3 of the race so far. Double wide pack so far. I see the top lane trying to form up with 3 cars.
Yeah, I love this style of racing. This super speedway racing puts on a hell of a show for our fans. Really stressful for our drivers, though. What do you think is going through these drivers' minds right now as they're in the early stages of the 75-mile race?
These drivers' heads are on a swivel right now because these drivers do not have spotters. All we have is we have to look for ourselves. So these drivers' heads are on a swivel trying to see on the outside who's on the inside, where they can and cannot push. See, right now these drivers had a little bit of contact so far coming out of turn 2. They're trying to see where they can go and where they can't go. And right now with their heads on a swivel, everything's just crazy in their minds right now. See right now Miles Johnson back into the lead. Getting some help from Nicholas Collier, rumored to join Miles Johnson Motorsports.
Yeah, he switched over to that number 60, which is the second number of that MJM team. So it looks like he may have made the switch, and he did switch to Ford. He was running a Pontiac the last race of the Thanksgiving 100. Strong.
We haven't been talking.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We haven't been talking a lot about GRT Sissy here in this race, but right now he's been honestly going from the front to the back to the front to the back, really trying to get his bearings on what it's like to race this track and with the package that we're currently running. So once he figures it out, I feel like he might be a threat. He's a really fast driver all around. Could have definitely been a championship contender in other series, but just didn't race enough of the races, which caused him to slip in the points. But right now I feel like he's somebody we definitely have to keep around. Miles Johnson, 3 wide!
3 wide, the inside of the lead. I think he's going to give that up in turn 1, though. He went below the yellow lines, kind of frowned upon. But last time we were here, CJ Howell was actually leading the Test the Tune race, coming to the line, ended up getting in a wreck, and finished, I believe, 4th or 5th. So hope he's looking to bounce back, get a little racing for redemption here today at Daytona.
Question, but what do you think about what Miles Turner and the number 74 is doing right now in the back of the pack? He's lost the draft. Do you think this is a strategy thing, or do you think he's just like very slow on pace?
I think this was, you saw him, he made a lot of contact, heavy contact. He came on the radio, said he made some contact with the wall earlier in the race, and it caused him to lose the draft. But you do not want to lose this draft. You can risk going down a lap if there's not a big wreck at the front of the pack. But the way
Metz takes the lead.
These guys are racing right now. I don't know how they're going to keep it straight for much longer.
Suddenly, here comes Miles jumping outside.
And we got a car around. Nicholas Collier, the 60 car.
Hard hit on the exit of turn 2.
The caution flag is out. And we are going to see what happened here. Oh, I think he thought he was clear on the 11 of Donnie Wu. Let's go back here and look again. And I think he just came down, thought he was clear. And
he bounced off the wall and tried to come back to the bottom. Not very, not what Nicholas Collier wanted starting this race off, but so far it's pretty early on in the race, so I feel like he might be able to bounce back.
The helmet camera of Johnson.
And Nicholas seemed like he got tight. Oh!
I believe he made some contact there.
A little wide there, try to come back down. Wow! Over 100+ mile-an-hour impact on the rear of that car.
Yeah, this is a very tough track when it comes to impact. Here's a closer view at it. Yeah, that thing just snapped around and fortunately didn't collect any other cars. See Miles Turner slipping through there. Is Collier's gonna get it back going. I believe Metz is still in the lead as of right now. So what you think about this race so far there, Sean?
So far, it's too much to talk about, too much to discuss. You can't really talk about every little thing that's happening. It's so fast-paced, so much energy. You can just feel the energy coming off this racetrack right now with all the cars going around at 200 miles an hour, lap after lap. You can feel the energy. The crowd's loving it. I'm feeling it right now. My heart's beating like crazy. I'm just super excited for these drivers to go back green.
Yeah, we're going to go into the Geico restart zone to get the Brown Motor Works 75 back underway. Man, this is a great turnout. The infield is packed. The stands are packed. The atmosphere here is awesome for the start of the Strictly Stock Series.
As they're about to go green, Rashad jumps the start, but I think jumps it by 1.5 miles. But I think he's checking up now to make sure the people catch up because that was a restart violation. Even though he was
3 wide now for the lead. I don't even know where to put the camera at. There's so much happening. Is this pack starting to get formed back up again? 3 wide there in the back of the pack again.
Single file so far. Other breaking out. Donnie Wu wants to go to the lead right now.
Contact
get some help.
there. And he saves it. 3 wide. Ooh.
Manages to get back on the track.
That was a tough moment there.
Shot's gonna try to go for the lead. Miles Johnson puts them in the wall. Sometimes these drivers they carry so much speed in these corners that they get a little tight on the exit of the corners, like the exit of turn 2 and the exit of turn 4, and that sometimes can really mess with you trying to hold your line.
See over 200 miles an hour in the draft there as we're 3 wide again, middle of the pack. Whoa, some contact! Massive wreck on the back straightaway!
Rashad saves it!
The big wreck happens on lap 9.
Wow, it is only 9 laps into this 30-lap slugfest, and we've already seen 2 cautions.
Yeah, it's been 2 big wrecks. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Just 3 wide moment. I believe Donnie Wu may have hit the wall and came down a little bit. and Metz was just bounced around 3 wide.
3 wide there. I think it just got really tight off the corner. Looks like if we go back one more time and see, it looks like Nicholas Collier was a little off the bottom than what you would usually see. Well, the speed when you're running by yourself typically will be like half a groove to a groove off the bottom lane. Try to carry a lot of speed to avoid the bumps. It's why Nicholas Collier was taking full advantage of that, and kind of see it gets a little tight on the exit of the corner there. And
yeah,
Rashad kind of
just stacks up.
Rashad hooked him. Donnie was on the outside all the way up against that wall. Didn't have anywhere to go. Got hooked. Tried to save it. Straight into the wall.
Let's take a look through Rashad Metz's camera. Gets her back straight, keeps her going.
A very wild racing we've seen so far. This is hectic. This is wild.
We've had one smaller wreck and one pretty large one there on the back straightaway.
Indeed we have.
I mean, when you're going in a huge pack, going this fast, and we're already about a third way through this race. This race going by pretty quick. I believe Johnson's your leader right now. Nick Collier's second. I think he's going to like the inside, though, which is going to give Miles Turner the outside lane.
Think about this right now. Now that you mentioned speed, these drivers, the pole lap time was a 46.830. The fastest lap during race trim is a 44.3. These drivers are driving well over a second. Actually, well over 2 seconds lap time faster as we go green here once again in the Brown Motorworks 75.
Here we go.
Miles, if you're in the...
Thundering down in the turn one, the pack already starting to form.
Miles, you've driven these cars quite a lot. If you were in the cockpit right now, what are you thinking? What's your strategy for this race?
Survive. If you're not there at the end, it doesn't matter what happens between now, but as long as you're there at the last lap, at the last 10 feet coming to the finish line, that's the only place that matters. You can go from last to first in the first lap or last lap, and you can go from first to last in the last lap. So everything that's happening right now, you're just trying to survive and stay within striking distance to be there at the end of this thing.
Look at these cars starting to stack up, trying to go single file. Everybody's pushing and shoving. Oh, here comes GRT60 trying to run to the outside. He's going to get some help. 3 wide for a second. I think Donnie Wu backed out. Somebody's on the apron. These drivers are flying. Here comes Donnie Wu trying to take the lead again. Miles Johnson on the outside, 3 wide. Look at these tandems almost. Everybody's got a dancing partner. See Rashad Metz trying to work with Miles Johnson, and that high lane has not been the lane you wanted to be in so far. But to see if they can make it work. Shot drop to the inside lane, pushing Miles Johnson through the tri-oval into turn one. They go side by side. Can they clear the inside lane, the outside lane? And they do. Rashad jumps up to the outside, trying to get a run. Doesn't have any help. Tries to hang it on. 3 wide. What a move by Sissy.
This pack is very dangerous and very fast right now, as we're already approaching the halfway mark in this race. This race going by a lot faster than we thought we were, or thought it would. But there is one thing I'm starting to notice there, Rashad, is you see that shadow through the tri-oval is starting to creep a little closer to the infield as the sun is starting to go down. Do you believe that these cooler track temperatures and the track cooling off a little bit is going to affect anything?
I think the weather's going to play a huge role. When you see the wind direction, as you see, is 13.1 feet per second. The wind direction changes and shifts and allows these drivers to sometimes go faster down the front straightaway or slow down the front straightaway or faster down the back straightaway or vice versa. It's very, very the track conditions changing, change how these cars drive, change how these cars handle, and it changes how these cars that are aero sensitive in a pack right now, because aerodynamics is so very important right now, can affect these race cars. So I really feel like with these cooler temperatures, I think usually it will give these drivers a little bit more grip, might make these drivers get a little bit more aggressive, want to really go for it a lot more, and you might see a lot more 3 to 4 wide racing.
And see with the product, the way this track is built, you see the front straightaway and into turn 1 is all in the shade. And the back straightaway and turns 3 and 4 are still in the hot sun. So you figure there's going to be a 10 to 20 degree difference between the tri-oval and turns 1 than there is the rest of the track. So your car is going to start handling very differently at each end of the racetrack.
Indeed you will. But
Johnny was going to go
Johnny
around.
was around.
Another caution out on lap 14 out of 13.
I think these drivers were just pushing so hard. 2 shots giving him a push here. Pushed him too hard, turned him. Wasn't a square push at all.
Just looked back from Nick Collier's back bumper. Yeah, just not a square push. That can easily happen here. I mean, as fast as these cars are going around here.
It's a true testament to how much skill it takes to drive this racetrack. People think that it's just left turns, left turns, left turns. In practice today, we saw these drivers constantly swapping positions on who had the fastest lap in practice. Each and every, how softly you turn the steering wheel, what line you took, how far you off the bottom, every inch mattered. And as you see right here, every inch matters, as he was trying to push in front of him, but he was slightly off, just a couple inches off from a square push, and it turned the driver in front of him. So in order to be quick here, in order to learn how to drive here, you have to be very precise and know exactly what you're doing.
One NASCAR reference I can make, Dale Waltrip, legend in the NASCAR world when it comes to racing here at Daytona, won multiple races. He used to commentate for NASCAR, and he always used to say that with these stock cars, like as the ones that we are racing here in the GTO League, they said they are so sensitive around this racetrack that you could reach out and push them with your finger and spin them around with them, the way how fast they're going around here, and just how aero sensitive they are. That's just how shows a little how hard to handle these cars are around this racetrack, and how tough it is, even though it is just a wide open racetrack.
That's very true. So before we get back green, Miles, let me ask you, so the next race of the season is going to be at Suzuka's East Circuit. It's going to be the shorter circuit. What can you tell us about that track so far? What do you know about it?
Half of it's a straightaway and half of it's an S. That's pretty much all there is to say about that racetrack. NASCAR did an exhibition race back there in the 90s, so we're going to follow in their footsteps and go there for the Snap-on Grand Prix, and it's going to be a hell of a race. The first road course race, the first of 3 road course races of the season, and man, wrangling these heavy race cars around that racetrack is sure going to be fun. A lot of bumping and banging as we go back up through the gears here at Daytona.
Nicholas Collier has been a guy you have seen up front all race today. I think he's starting to build. He has a really fast Mustang today. I think that switch to that Ford Mustang was a real smart idea. Got really fast on the ovals, getting some help.
Yeah, look at those 2 Ford Mustangs up front. The way those Ford front bumpers just line up. They line up so much better than every other car out there with that flat front nose on them.
They also flip really well, too. Joey Logano, Ryan Newman. Okay, anyway, back to the race at hand. Those 2 Ford Mustangs are bump drafting really hard. They're going to try to take this. Miles Johnson's going to try to take the lead from Nicholas Collier, or is he going to try to work with him?
Nick Collier, I believe, moved up and kind of gave the lead away himself. As Collier or CJ Howell's actually getting a run to the outside there.
Those 3 cars on the outside, can they actually make it work?
It looks like they did. Those Miles Johnson Motorsports cars of the 60 and 06 are fading into the middle of the pack.
He left them, but here comes the top groove rolling. Couldn't quite get there. Don't have the momentum, don't have the help.
Just hearing these cars wide open around these track. Ooh, almost a little loose moment there.
Are flying 3 wide.
Through the trial. Well, the trial was
Donnie
almost...
trying to go 3
Ooh,
wide for the lead.
almost.
And he goes for it. He really put that car in that hole. He tried to really make it work. Rashad's on the outside. Think he has no help. Fouls back in line. Gets on the bumper of Donnie Wu here.
Looks like Donnie Wu he's trying to peek outside to see if he can get around those 2 cars up front, and because he knows Rashad loves to get that outside lane rolling. So let's see if Metz will take him to the outside. Metz is looking. He's trying to get that outside going.
Oh, Donnie's making moves to the inside. 2 leaders get tight, but here comes Rashad and Donnie Wu on the inside lane. Donnie leads that lap.
So a testament to how quickly things can change here at Daytona. You can be up front 1 second, then you can be dead last the next. It's all about split-second decisions. Ooh, and we got a wreck in the turn 1. Rashad Metz involved. Collier involved. What happened here? Another mess in turn 1.
Second incident for both of these drivers this race. Wow, that was an ugly looking wreck.
Let's get the full replay here.
Oh, wow!
I think Nick got shoved out of line and tried to fit back into line, and there was not a hole where he thought there was a hole. As you see right there, Johnson gets a little run going into the turn. Nick gets shoved up, tries to make a move back in, and makes contact with the 06 and especially the 24.
But look how Rashad saved that race car again. Let's take a look at that steering wheel.
Let's get a view of the outside of Metz's car before we go in the inside. Yeah, that's only hit the wall about 10 times before he saved it, but he still saved it. So here we are in the inside of Rashad Metz's car. Man,
oh my gosh!
Just a split second. Nothing. I mean, that was... I'm gonna watch that again because that was...
The camera couldn't even record half of it because it was so violent.
That thing just snapped into the wall.
Look at the camera snap.
Let's look at the inside of Nick Collier's car. An unfortunate turn of events in turn 1. A lot of good race cars involved. Donnie Wu, I believe, is your leader, and he's doing donuts now on the back straightaway.
To celebrate.
To celebrate taking the lead with 12 laps to go.
Donnie was just excited.
Very excited to be here. And that sun, it continues to set over the grandstands. This is a very historic racetrack. Built back in the 50s. NASCAR got its start here on the beach, just about a mile here, and many of you have been here in person, and wow, it is a spectacle to watch a race at this racetrack. The atmosphere, being so close to the beach, just everything about this racetrack is just awesome.
Incredible. We were even there to watch the underdog of Michael McDowell win that race. Amazing.
Made some great memories here, and we're about to make some more here as we go back to green flag racing here in the Brown Motorworks 75.
Big push by GT Sissy there. Rashad jumps straight to the outside lane.
Leaves Miles Turner, I believe, out there to dry.
He's gonna jump back to the inside. With 10 laps to go here. Wow, these drivers are starting to spread out a little bit. Not as packed together.
The last lap of caution is lap 27. After that, there is no more caution, so if we do wreck again, you better hope it's on that one before we go no more cautions.
I don't know what Rashad's trying to do on the outside lane. He's trying to go 3 wide. Donnie Wu couldn't quite get there.
Miles Turner trying to make his way through the middle of the pack. A little contact with the wall there. That's going to shuffle him out. Ooh, we're 3 wide in the back of the pack.
The beautiful number 60 machine of Nicholas Collier. Rashad's on the outside lane trying to make it work. Trying to make something happen.
He doesn't have much of. He doesn't. No, he has 3 cars up there. He might be able to get something going if Miles Turner doesn't stop dooring the car in front of him.
Miles Turner does not know where he wants to go.
Oh, and 3 wide for the lead now.
They're starting to try to go back into single file. Trying to be cautious, coming down to that no caution mark. Donnie Wu's in a great position right now, in really good control of the race so far. Miles Johnson seems to just be working with him here.
Ooh, some contact with the wall in the back of the pack, but they keep her going. As we're looking 3, almost 4 wide there again.
Oh, here comes Sissy to the inside.
To
Puts
the
Rashad on the
middle.
wall.
3, oh, and Sissy's gonna go around. CJ Howell, the 58 car, hard into the wall in turn 3 and 4.
That wreck seemed like we watched it in slow motion.
I mean, let's get another look at it. Come down the back straightaway. I think he tried to make a move to the outside, and someone got into his quarter panel, or he moved down, and it was the slowest spin out we've pretty much ever seen. Oh, I believe Miles Turner tried to come down and thought he was
Lino
clear.
tried to correct it. Hard lick.
That's a hard, especially in that backing it in the wall. As see there, I believe Turner comes down a little bit and just kind of pinches the 58 car in between Donnie Wu. Let's look at the in-car camera.
Awfully hard wreck.
Here's CJ Howell's in-car camera.
Tries to go through a great move there, just really couldn't quite get it done. Gets hooked.
Hard impact with that outside wall.
You heard him revving the car up, trying to spin the tires to keep it out of the wall.
Here's looking backwards from over the rear spoiler of 74 of Turner.
The hole was there, started closing up, but he got his car in there. Gap closed.
That's an unfortunate turn of events.
But let's get this race back green. I think we're gonna have to go back around for one more full lap before we can.
The Honda Accord is actually leading the field right now. Not often you get to say that.
Never thought you would say Honda Accord is leading a race.
Honda's was brought into the league by Miles Turner and that number 74 car. And he's been doing a pretty good job with it. We have a melting pot of different makes and models. We got Ford, Chevys. I believe we got a Grand Prix in there somewhere. We got a Nissan. Got a the Honda.
Look at the speed of that Honda Accord, though. The qualifying time, may I reiterate, was a 46.830 for pole position. Miles Turner has ran a 43.6, 3 seconds faster than the pole time here.
It wasn't
Daytona International
the fastest
Speedway.
and under qualifying, but man, that 74 car sure has come to life during this race as the beautiful sunset in the backdrop. And we are about to get ready to go on back to green flag racing here in the Brown Motorworks 75. This thing is winding down. Rashad, when do you think it is go time for these drivers?
Oh, I think these drivers are going to try to get the best position they can. I think they will try to play it safe as we get up to the lap 27, which is the last caution lap that we have available. But right now we're starting to see who's the pushers and who's the leaders right now, because with that lap time that Miles Turner set in the draft, can really show you that he might be a threat when it comes to pushing somebody or running into slipstream coming down to the checkered flag. So really got to keep your eye on Miles Turner in the end of this race.
Metz trying to make a move on the outside. He's getting a huge shove by Miles Johnson. Trying to get to that outside. Going
three wide. Can Miles Johnson get him a push on the outside to clear him? And he does!
Oh, still three wide.
The sun has set.
The whole track now in darkness. The lights will come on soon, and we're going to be under the lights here.
Bumping and banging on the apron, off of the apron. As you come around to take not checkered flag, take lap 25. 5 laps to go in this race.
So the high five in the air for the flag stand there. 5 more laps to go. It's go time now. All caution is out in the wind. It is go time.
You can see the cooler temperature allow these drivers to have a lot more grip on the racetrack. They're starting to go a lot more 3 wide and 4 wide action, just like I had predicted with the temperature change. So right now it's going to get really interesting. I don't know if some of these drivers are chilling out in the pack, because you see Rashad Metz and Miles Johnson were cars you always saw towards the front of this pack. But right now it seems like they're calming down a bit, trying to head back. But to see Rashad Metz is going against what I just said as he tries to make a run on the outside lane.
Oh, and here goes Donnie Wu to the inside for the lead. Side by side, will he be able to clear Turner? Turner trying to stay in the lead.
Miles Turner has been really showing his skill that he's been learning, has great control of the field right now, leading a couple of laps consecutively, which is very hard to do at a racetrack like this, a wild card racetrack like this. But lap 26 out of 30, one more lap until the final caution lap is on. You see the single filing out, trying to really see where they can and cannot go on the racetrack.
Contact, 3 wide. Ooh,
oh,
almost a big right there.
What a save!
He was drifting in a Daytona. Here goes the last lap of caution.
Drifting it at 200 plus mile an hour. Are these drivers going to play it safer? They're going to go all for it, since they have a chance to make one mistake as this lap is the last lap for cautions. Miles Turner trying to go back to the lead, gets sideways!
Wrecks in the turn 1!
Massive wreck!
The caution flag is out for the last time. Let's take a look here.
That was a Hail Mary run right there. Tries to cut him off, gets turned to the apron.
That hard hit for Miles Turner. That thing got turned head on at one of the fastest spots of the racetrack. He thought he was clear as CJ Howe and got turned straight into the outside wall. That is a tough hit.
That was crazy. But it's lap 27 out of 30. We're going to re-rack the field, bring a caution out. But Miles, do you think there's time for him to run back to the front of the field, or do you think it's too late for him to get back up there?
I think there's time for everything at this racetrack, unless you're out of the main pack. If you're in that main pack, you never know. The top 5 could wreck, and 6th place could win this race from 30 seconds back. You never know when it comes to this racetrack. So we're just going to have to watch this and find out.
This is crazy. This is wild. This is getting real intense. You see the top 4 drivers right now. We have CJ Howe with Rashad Metz right there ready to push him. Miles Johnson with his teammate of the 60 of Nicholas Collier behind him. As we're going to go into the restart, no more cautions from this point on in this race. Who is going to push who? Who's going to be ready to lead this race? Who's going to take the checker flag? Everything's up in the air right now.
And here we go. Johnson's going to lead him back to green. The green flag is in the air. The conclusion of the Brown Motorworks 75.
Look at those Ford Mustangs hooked up really well on the restart. Got a good push. Rashad Metz could not get the start he wanted, falling back to 4th place. That's not what the field wanted to see. They did not want to see Miles Johnson and Nicholas Collier linked up in this race, but he's last coming down to the wire. Look at him hooked up. The field is behind him, not together, very disorganized. Miles Johnson is starting to try to get a breakaway with Nicholas Collier.
Yeah, do you think it's good to be up front at the end of this thing, or do you think it's good to be sitting 3rd or 4th in case something happens to them leaders?
It honestly, in my opinion, depends on the driver. If you have the skill to block the lanes, to be able to work the lanes efficiently and as good as you possibly, the best, then I feel like being in the front is where you want to be. But if you're not very good running in traffic, not very good running in there with everybody else, then you want to be back in the pack, wait for something to happen and strike and pounce on the opportunity. We see Rashad Metz is building a huge run right now, trying to gain some ground on Miles Turner here. We see Miles Johnson and Nicholas Collier still in control of the field. Nose to tail, those two.
Oh, massive
in
wreck.
The wall.
No caution, no caution. Let's see what happened though. Metz involved. Howe. Where's CJ Howe?
3 wide just now. Big Miles bouncing all over the place. I think turned both Rashad Metz and CJ Howe. We got to try to get a closer look at what just happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good camera view here.
Shots on the inside lane. Big Miles comes down. Hooks him with... Just goes straight in there and hooks both drivers.
A lot of drivers really loose right there. It was a kind of a chain reaction. A lot of stuff happened. Turner made contact with 2 other cars. And cars bouncing off of cars at 200 mile an hour is not a good... It's not a good recipe.
Not a good recipe at all, but I think Miles Turner was just going for the hole that he thought was available, went for the hole, and I think the inside lane kind of stacked up. Oh no, yeah. Unsquare, wasn't a square push. He tried to go to the inside lane.
Push on the rear end of Rashad, which turned Rashad into the corner panel of CJ Howe, I believe.
Tried to switch lanes while on the back bumper of Rashad Metz and kind of hooked him in the process. Not what Rashad and CJ
Howe was just a victim of this. He was just driving, and as you see him got hooked in there. Let's look at the in-car camera of Rashad Metz.
See Rashad's lifting right now. Gives him an unsquare push, go inside, hooks both drivers.
Let's look at the one more camera view inside of
Miles Turner's car. Number 74 Honda Accord. Big wreck.
Massive wreck.
That really sucks for the CJ Howe as he set the fastest lap in race trim with a 43.2.
We are racing side by side, a 4-car pack now. The rest of the pack is out of it. They won't be able to catch in time.
Miles Johnson in the lead right now, followed by Miles Turner. Both Miles is Miles squared. Are they going to reform and race side by side and race together again?
Here they go. The white flag is in the air. One more lap to go at the Brown Motorworks 75.
Turner gets shuffled out.
Turner gets shuffled out. Donnie Wu in the mix now.
Here comes Nicholas Collier. Can he get around? Miles Turner's trying to find a way to gain some position here. Nicholas Collier goes to the outside. Can he have some help? Is he going to have some help side by side? A little bumping and bang and get some help from
Donnie Wu into the final turns.
Cleared him, but that's not where you want to be.
Huge lead here.
That lead might be too big.
Johnson's going to have a huge run.
Massive run coming down to the line. Can he put a block on him?
No,
fails the block. Here comes Miles Johnson to the lead to win the Brown Motorworks 75.
What a finish. Miles Johnson wins in the Brown Motorworks car at the Brown Motorworks 75.
Wow, I guess the luck was on his side today. What an amazing finish. Nicholas Collier had just got too big of a lead. Too big of a lead leads to guys getting huge runs on you.
Let's look at another.
Very good of a block.
That block could have been a little bit better there from Collier. Let's see if we can get another good look at it going in the turn. You see, Colliers has that huge lead that allows Johnson to get that huge slipstream because they're racing side by side behind him.
Nicholas Collier's bad luck streak continues. Tried to bump and bang, but got his car a little too loose.
A solid second place finish. 1, 2, 3 for the Miles Johnson Motorsports cars, though. A lockout of the podium.
Right now we see Rashad Metz bringing it home 5th and CJ Howe bringing it home 6th, caught up in that wreck. Not the start to the season that these two drivers wanted, but at least the field wasn't any larger because that would be more of a points deficit. But I think next week we're going to our first road course at Suzuka, so I feel like it's really going to shuffle up there. Let's see if Miles Johnson, after this win, can take some momentum into that track and see if he can put down some good laps and either get a podium there or come out with the win. But right now,
Rashad Metz is licking his chops, looking at right next week. He's disappointed after this bad points race this week. So he's really looking forward to next weekend at Suzuka to when he can really get in some points, because he's a hell of a road course racer, and I'm sure he's going to be practicing all week for that race. But, man, what a crazy race we had here tonight in the Brown Motorworks 75.
An incredible race. A lot of back and forth. Some people, a lot of back and forth racing here. A lot of lead changes. A lot of drivers trying to work with different drivers to get to the lead. I think this was amazing, and I'm super, super excited for not only what kind of races this car puts on, and also excited for the championship finale when we come back here under the lights at the Daytona National Speedway.
Well, thank you again for Rashad for being here to watch us at Daytona International Speedway. One track down. We got 9 more to go here in the Strictly Stock Series. Hit us up if you want to race with us, or if you want to sponsor us, let us know. It's free to sponsor us. And just thanks again, and wow, what a race that was to watch. And signing out from Daytona, thank you for watching the Brown Motorworks 75. Miles Johnson, your winner here in the Brown Motorworks 75. Y'all have a great evening.